go. Oh yeah.
Yeah, because it made a square.
I didn't see it. All right. So you watched the video. What'd you
Yes. I think it's true, right? I always hated arguing that there's one side or the other, especially in nature versus nurture, because it's very obviously not one or the other. Because, I always take my example of siblings, right? I told you that. I was like, there's 8 of us, all like same nature.
More or less same.
Or
DNA.
same like nurture, but like right? It should have been like we all turn out like little robots or
Like
something.
a factory.
Right? Like little line of, but we're not. Like we're not the same. We're not the same people. We don't have the same experiences. All that, even though we had the same, technically the same
mom,
nurture.
same dad.
Byron Rivera to the front office, please. Byron Rivera to the front office.
Please ignore that part.
No.
So I've always thought of it as in like nature's your baseline. Like this is where
Where you
everyone's gonna
start?
start at. Almost like an RPG game where like you pick your class and like it automatically shifts everything.
Okay. Yeah.
And then what you do after that point, builds
Yeah.
your growth. Like I was never gonna be tall, but
There was that.
but like what we eat
Like
could have affected like.
you can decide how round you want it to be.
To the extent where we live,
A little, yeah.
but like my family is like super skinny except for me and my brother, and I was super skinny until I got
Yeah,
hurt.
and
So
yeah.
there's a sign. Well, you could have been like, oh well, everyone in your family's skinny. It's nature.
Yeah.
Obviously.
I blame mine
Cheeseburgers.
on mine. I'm like, oh yeah, my genetics, my mom is like just as big as I am. Like I'm not, but then I got pregnant and my metabolism went, and I was
Okay.
like, holy shit. But as soon as I had the baby, I went back. But
Ezekiel Jimenez to the front
Look
office,
back.
please.
I was like-
Ezekiel Jimenez to the front office.
it's usually like one. It's never like 4 in a
I
row.
know, right? It would be the time we're trying to record ourselves. I'm too lazy to unrecord it.
No, but so
Alright.
it is. It's right. I like that a baseline, because it is like the ergometrics or whatever that it mentioned.
Epigenetics. Is that how you said it?
Epigenetics. There you
Yeah.
go. I was like but
Words.
right. It's hey, this is what you
Byron
have.
Rivera to the front office, please.
kid.
Byron Rivera
The
to the
kid.
front office.
But that's kind of like your baseline, right? So the little rats changed how they are nurtured, and it changed how they were like genetically seen or whatever.
Yeah.
I talk a lot with my hands, and they're gonna see a lot of that.
It's all good. Like you said with the rats, like so they might have been predispositioned to be hateful people or
Yeah.
rats, but with the love and care that they got, it didn't really alter their DNA, it just altered the way their DNA read itself.
Yeah.
Because it didn't say the DNA rewrite, it had those things on it that like said turn this
like
part
blocked
off.
it kind of thing. Yeah. So
Okay, just more random background. Let's go.
but it's very much a combination. So however you want to see like that combination, it works, right? So if you want to say, oh, but it's more like nurture, it's more dependent on like how you were brought up, right?
Yeah.
Like who nurtured you? Like, oh, did you have like foster care? Did you have like 2-parent home or whatever? You can say whatever you want about it, but also, hey, does that person want to like be stuck there? What are they going to do about the nurture they were given? Kind of thing.
Like I said, several of my siblings have gone to jail. I've not.
Look at you being a
Yeah,
public servant
way
now.
to automatically like be the top dog by not being a criminal. That's
Like that's just a really
you
low
said
bar.
but that's how you get to be the top dog in my family.
I graduated college. I'm like already way ahead of all my husband's siblings.
Well, I graduated
So-
college too.
But like that's
That's
to
why
me.
we're here.
Yeah, but like that, like for my parents, like that was the way I was nurtured. Like
You're
if
gonna go to
you've got
college.
it, like you've got it, or at least some traits. You have some skill. Like my brother went to like ammonia refrigeration.
Okay.
He actually did an online through Garden Cities, which was so weird. But anyway, it was weird when I moved here and my dad was like, hey, that's what your brother went to school. but like it was that you needed to have some sort of skill so that you could
You
like
couldn't just be a loafer.
yeah. And so like however we went about doing that is fine, but like you've got to do something more. But like my husband's family is like not like that, which is like they value education but not in the same way, because his dad is Air Force, and so he like took classes with the Air Force for a while, and then but he like never like got a degree, but he got enough like experience that he would move up.
So they value experience more than
Yeah, like
Again.
it doesn't matter what degree you have, like that experience outweighs any degree anybody could have. So
I see that. I mean,
even your nerd, like it's so weird.
because there's certain
'Cause-
teachers who have better degrees than me who
Oh,
I have more experience with,
Yeah.
or even you have more experience now after going through this semester versus how you
yeah.
had. So I don't know.
yeah. So
But
it's definitely how you use it, kind of thing too, right? Like
yeah.
how much of each nature and nurture you get, and then how you use that. Are you gonna?
It's kind of different words, same argument.
Yeah,
You need
yeah.
you need both to succeed, because I could be born with the most amazing talent to run fast, but if I don't ever like
You saying you
practice,
can run fast?
no, cannot run fast. I'm using a very not realistic.
Oh, okay.
But like, I could be born with the greatest ability,
Mm-hmm.
but if all I ever did was sit around eat potato chips, eventually a guy who was born with a little less ability but worked his butt off is going to beat me.
It's that practice makes perfect, not. I
Like-
mean, you can have a skill for it, but you still have to like hone that skill.
But on the same flip side, I mean, in high school I ran every single day, not because I wanted to be fast, but because I lived in the middle of nowhere and that's how I got around. So I ran every day, but that didn't mean I was wanting to race anybody, because I still wasn't the fastest. But like, I was
Yeah.
moderately fast, but not super
Oh,
fast.
yeah.
Now I'm just fat, so stupid nurture. But
Yeah.
I've never understood why anyone would argue one versus the other, when it just makes more sense that both where you came from as far as your genetics and what you decide to do
Mhm.
as far as your nurture play in. And now some things we don't have choice. For instance, like, you didn't choose your parents.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
nature. Like,
Yeah.
but I mean, we live in a society where if you don't like, I have blonde hair. My mom has blonde hair. That's why I have blonde hair. If I don't like my blonde hair, I would just dye it black. No, I
You'll
wouldn't
never
do
get
it.
it black.
I've actually dyed it black before,
Oh.
one day for a Halloween thing. But I mean, I have that option. But also, as we get older, my hair will change and become gray. That's why I was kind of a little salty with your student earlier, because I already have a couple
Like
gray hairs.
gray-
And I'm not
I
30
make
yet.
fun of my husband for his gray hairs.
My wife points it out to me all the time. She's like, your hair's gray. And I'm like, sure.
I was
It's
like-
blonde.
I was like, I mean,
now
I'm
you're
sure
now
if
you're
I, like,
looking.
I'm sure if I look, but it's like enough like the like sandy that you can't tell.
Yeah.
My husband like dark hair, so you can like see them all.
Yeah, I have that beautiful blonde hair to like hide it.
Yep.
Never considered my hair a beautiful blonde, but right
My
now.
mom was weird, and she was like, I used to like pull out like my black hairs because she's like brunette like me, and she would pull out the dark ones, and I was like, what? She was like, yeah, now I just pull out the light ones because they're all gray and white, and I was like, I don't understand, but okay.
Dye your hair. But I mean, that's like we have kids who come in. I mean, we both teach math. They come in. There's some kids who probably come from families that suck at math.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they not
I
just
come from a family that sucks at math.
like not genetically, but generationally. Like, like generation after generation, they're bad at math.
Yeah.
But how much of that can be like, oh, well, these people just suck at math because they're born that way, versus something like maybe great grandma or whatever said math was hard, and so they've had that disposition just from
I think
hearing
that's a
it.
whole, just like the whole society. Oh, math is hard.
Yeah, everyone chooses math.
And it
Math
does,
is the best.
but it does like change like how they're nurtured, right? Oh, you're
Yeah.
nurtured to expect that math is hard, that these things are going to be difficult, that it's going to be uncomfortable for you, but you're just going to have to like deal with it, whatever, we don't care. but then as like a teacher, we try to change that nurture to, okay, just try it, do your best. What can you do? How much of this do you like? Hey, you can do this part, like, and try to like build that confidence that's been nurtured and
Eroded.
nurtured. Yeah.
Because I mean, there are studies that show that math is, not the great, like everyone loves math, but like a lot more people like math before middle school, and like that's kind of the brick wall.
Yeah.
And then everyone's like, no, I don't like it anymore. And I feel like a lot of it is because parents are like, I can't help you with this
I can't
anymore."
help you with it anymore. That's difficult math. I don't understand that math.
And so
like-
it's a learned behavior. It's nurture. It's learned behavior. It's
Mhm.
something that's happening around them. Where, because I don't know, my kids are like, well, Mr. Grath, you're smart. I hate that word smart. Because no one's, like, yeah, there's probably people born with higher or lower beginning aptitudes. But
Yeah.
everyone at some point looked at 2 + 2 and had no idea what that meant.
Oh yeah.
So don't, like, I hate it when people are like, well, you're just smart. Like, no, I learned more. I spent more time in math.
Like
And-
I've already done this,
Yeah.
so I already know it. When I was at your place, I was just as smart as you are. Like it
And I grew up in a household. My dad wanted me to be an engineer, so math was like
a really
thrown at me.
Yeah.
Like, he had me trying to multiply in kindergarten. So,
Oh, that's a little much.
well, I mean, I could do it. I got up to 12 times 12 before first grade, and then after that, I was lost.
Behind. I moved in the middle of second grade, and they had already learned their multiplication, and I hadn't, and so I was behind.
That's unfortunate. That it's so different from
Mhm.
state to state or town to town.
And then, like me, it wasn't anything I did, or like, but now I was behind, and I was like punished for it, and I had to do all this extra work to get. It's difficult.
Well, even like from here to the town just north of here, Scott,
Mm-hmm.
I was in advanced math the whole way, but the way they do their order for math in high school versus art, like Garden Cities,
Mm-hmm.
I went from being advanced math to a freshman math in my sophomore year
And you were
because
like-
we weren't supposed to take that till junior year, and I was like,
Yeah.
okay.
I've seen that a lot with my advanced kids because they come from all over, and so it's like you've got to be aware of if you can handle it, because just because your school did advanced math one way doesn't mean that it like correlated
plays
with like
over, yeah.
the elementaries that we focus on or anything like that, or the intermediate centers. But then also, like when we go from like seventh grade, I like
No, you're
yeah,
good.
but when we go from like the seventh grade advanced to the eighth grade advanced and we change curriculums, that's where I think a lot of them, it's like, oh my gosh, this is so hard. And it's like, well, it's
It's
the
the
same
same
stuff.
thing.
It's just presented in a different way that we're not understanding. And so it's, hey, you were nurtured and taught this way, and now we're trying to change how you're nurtured and taught, and you're not used to it. And so it's not that you're dumber now, or you
yeah,
don't
you
have,
didn't all of a sudden become stupid.
but you now
Yeah.
you have to change, right? You have to adapt to this new nurturing environment. So that, right?
I like how you're trying to connect it back to nature.
I-
You're doing
well,
a
I'm-
great job.
I'm trying.
No, you're
We're-
doing great.
We're trying, like that's the point.
But
here.
this is how conversations work. Though. Like we
Yeah.
talk about things, and then like something else
And
comes up
then
that's
you gotta-
connected,
you gotta-
and
you gotta
you follow
come
the
back.
rabbit hole and you go through the journey.
I know.
But it all is connected because all of it comes down to we're nurtured in a way that we have X amount of mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And because we have this mindset, it affects the way we view things, which then has an effect on the next generation, how they view things, and then again back to the stupid rat thing, where
And
with the
then,
licking.
hey,
of
you
the-
were, yeah,
Well,
you were born with this,
yeah.
like covered up or whatever, and
Don't worry, Joe. I was bad at math too. You'll be fine. Don't worry, Susan. Me, Joe, and your grandpa were bad, and
you're just like, oh yeah,
Goes
it's
down the
okay.
line.
You can just be, like, we were all bad, and it's not like a, oh well, yeah, I struggle with that, but that's okay because I wanted to teach ELA, but. Right, but hey, no, oh, that's okay. You can try harder. Hey, maybe I'll get you some flashcards. I may not understand this, but like, there's
Yeah,
not like we tend to like nurture in the way that like we were nurtured, right?
yeah. I'm
Yeah.
not to name drop things, but like basically the idea is like we need our parents to have growth mindset if we want our students to have a growth
Oh.
mindset.
Definitely.
Because if our parents believe that there's a fixed mindset and you got
Mhm.
what you got, the kids are going to buy into that because you
The-
buy into what your parents say.
Oh yeah, it's kind of like, hey, even though this is like your nature, I'm gonna nurture you this way so that it doesn't matter what your nature is. to
think, yeah, I think that's why I
kinda
get
thing?
annoyed when people are like, well, back in the day, my family, I don't care. What'd you
Like,
do?
It doesn't matter. What are you doing with it now? Moving forward, how are you gonna address or fix or change it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like the video talked about the twins, the one twin who was lucky, whatever, and the other guy who was not lucky because he ended up becoming a bank robber.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see that playing out, but at the same time, at what point do we start to like put people like and responsible for their own action? Like
Oh yeah.
this bank robber guy, like he had a tough life.
And
But what at what point are we like, okay, so you've had this tough life, it's okay to make bad decisions, or are we like, okay, you've had a tough life,
how are you?
what are
gonna
you
change
doing
it?
to improve it?
What can you do better? Be a better person.
But
Rise
then,
above. Yeah.
but then again, at the same time, they need someone to present that at some point, I guess.
They've still got to like see that behavior kind of thing,
Yeah, like-
or be held to that standard.
Because I mean, I have a cousin who did eventually go to jail, but like we had an argument when we were younger because she said we were doomed to become our parents.
Uh huh.
I love my dad, I love my mom, but my mom's a drug addict and my dad's an alcoholic. And I am neither because like I saw what their lives were like.
Mm-hmm.
And as amazing people as they were, it wasn't a life I ever wanted to live.
Yeah.
And I mean,
So even though that might have been in your nature, that
Yeah,
you were
I'm-
given that.
I'm sure if someone mapped out my genomes, they would be like, well, you should be this, this, this,
Oh,
this,
yeah.
this. And
That stereotyping of, oh, you came from this background, and
And-
so maybe that just, you do need more help in school or whatever, but that doesn't mean
no,
you
I
can't
mean,
get it.
that's why I have ADHD. Is my mom was a drug addict, and it caused problems when I was in the womb, and like that's what led to that. But I don't know. Nature versus nurture. One of the great debates that
It's
will
not
never
a
be.
versus, it's a,
It's-
like how
it's
much
definitely-
of each,
it's
and
definitely
at one
not.
time.
It's more like what percent is this and what percent is that, and where do you start to pull the strings? Like where does one end and one begin?
Yeah, like when would you need more?
Like cat dog.
There you go. Sure.
Where does one end and one begin? The great mysteries of the world.
Oh, you
Well,
just
I was trying to think
cat
of
dog to nature nurture.
I was trying to think of something that like begins and then like at some point shifts into something else without ever like it's a fluid.
Yeah,
Thing.
yeah.
That's the only thing in the entirety of the world
That
that I
you
have
could think
that I
of.
have in my brain to pull out.
Yeah, like
Uh,
like a circle.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like it's
But
so
but it like doesn't
so-
have one end. They just like kind of both are rotating
just kind
around
of like
you.
just kind yeah.
And hey, there's more nurture in that. Like, hey, you can't run fast. That's just your nature. But you can try hard and do well at this. And
Now I think we're starting to talk about evolution and adaptation.
okay, just
I think we are gone beyond what we were supposed to do. So
good. 18 minutes is that
yeah,
good?
I think
Perfect.
so. So this is Mrs. Green, my colleague. She also
Cool.
teaches math. I'm
Right
Justin
there,
Groth.
next door.
Yeah, right next door. And so
You almost
I hope
came
you
in my
enjoyed
room
this
today.
video.